Welcome to Stardust Stereo. I'm Parker McPhinney. I'm your host. Today's the 29th of October, year 2024. And today we're going to speak on the new moon, which occurs on November 1st at 5:46 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. It's almost switching the clocks time, but not quite yet. So this new moon happens to fall on Day of the Dead, and that is so apropos because a new moon in Scorpio at 9 degrees and 35 minutes arc is certainly fitting the category of transcending, shedding the skin like a snake, and creating a new cycle as another cycle ends, which the new moon is all about. I always have this joke with my fellow Scorpio friends that the last people on Earth will be Scorpios. With sunglasses on, of course. Sort of in the wings, silently observing The Walking Dead. Scorpio gets a bad rap. It's because of its intensity. The zodiac placement is very much about extremes. And when a Scorpio sun sign focuses on something, nothing gets in the way. That's why this particular placement, Sun in Scorpio, is a great researcher. People born when the Sun is in Scorpio or with a strong influence of Scorpio in their chart are able to direct their energies with a laser-like focus. Scorpio also makes fabulous surgeons because they don't flinch at looking at the inside of the physical body. This placement is also tied to sexuality, seduction, control of the senses. Scorpions have a reputation for being very much revengeful when they have been betrayed. And they're extremely secretive. So when your karma comes back, it comes when you least expect it. That's on the scale of if you're dealing with the lower energies. Every single zodiac sign has higher energies and lower energies. And Scorpio, operating on the lower spectrum, can be mob-like. It certainly takes no prisoners. But we would like to encourage the higher manifestation of that Scorpio energy, especially during this election season. And that is transcendence above the betrayals, the dishonesty, those that present themselves to you to be their friend and you find out that in fact they are not. Everybody has this experience in life. It's not unique to a Scorpion. But right now, when we have the new moon in Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio, and Mars in Cancer in the last degree, issues like loyalty, support systems, those that have your best interest, are really where you want to focus on. Because in this new moon chart, there is a grand trine between Mercury in Scorpio, Mars in Cancer, and Neptune in Pisces. And that is a beautiful expression. And the other manifestation of Scorpion energy is creativity. As a matter of fact, they are known, their iconic words are, I create. You will not find another zodiac placement of the sun that has resources hidden so deep within themselves, little treasure troves of creativity that spring out, usually when most needed, than any other sign. Leo is, of course, very creative as well, but the Scorpion energy can go the long haul. And like a cat, they have many lives. They're constantly reinventing themselves. This ability to rise from the bottom of the bucket and become everything they're striving for and reach the top of the mountain will usually happen several times in a person's life who has enormous influence in their chart of Scorpio. So this new moon does represent reaching within yourself to discover your own resourcefulness. It is about transcendence. And the interesting thing with the Sabian symbol connected to this 10th degree, even though the new moon happens at 9 degrees 35 minutes arc, I rounded off to 10 degrees Scorpio. The Sabian symbol of this particular degree is Mephistopheles. That's the degree of unmasking people and seeing the hypocrisy. Mephistopheles is a character in German folklore about selling your soul to the devil. So that also represents to me this new moon chart and how we don't want to sell our soul to the darker forces. We want to rise above them. The other iconic image that comes with Scorpio, the phoenix that rises above the ashes. Yes, this is very apropos for the current climate of election in the last week in the United States. You can stabilize your mind through investigation of a simple question of who am I? Looking deeper into your higher self, your consciousness when in meditation or when focusing on some creative project or anything, when you have one-minded focus, where you get to that space within yourself where there's no thought and there's just being. These are just words, and it's hard to describe in words really what I am talking about, but everybody knows it because everybody has felt this. When you focus so deeply and your concentration is not disturbed, there's no room for any other energy to come in. At that moment, you are in your true beingness. And so the potential of this new moon is to locate that for yourself and to channel that into creativity, into utilizing your imagination, or through compassion, through discovering new ideas, how to build the life that you wish. And this grand trine in this new moon chart is very much, because the grand trine is happening at the later degrees of each zodiac placement. So it's representative of one cycle ending so that a new platform can emerge, a new way of how you express your life can begin to be unveiled. When we're talking about the Sabian symbol of unmasking and seeing on one level, yes, hypocrisy in the world, but on another level, it's better just to look at the hypocrisy that you discover within yourself, because we can't control anybody else. So dig out that crumb of hypocrisy that you maybe have left in your being and throw it away. in this new moon chart. Mars, at the last degree of Cancer, is in an exact opposition to Pluto. Well, it will actually become partial, which means to the very arc minute, on the 2nd of November. This new moon cycle for the next 2 weeks is so crucial and so important of how you utilize your own resources, your willfulness, your capacity to take this deeply emotional new moon to a level of deep loving compassion. This Sabian symbol is also called a fellowship supper reawakens unforgettable ties. The Sabian symbols are each degree of every single sign that are given descriptions. And so this particular degree has a few indicators. I use a few sources to present what 10 degrees of Scorpio can represent. So we have, on one hand, a fellowship supper, bringing people together and realizing the depth of their commitment and tie to each other. And then on another level, it shows Mephistopheles saying, I'm going to the dark side. I actually have a fantastic painting that the excellent painter Stephen Wright did, life-size, of Mephistopheles. I love that painting. The Sun and the Moon in Scorpio's closest aspect is to Saturn in Pisces in this chart. That's a firm desire of moving toward solid commitment and building the team that will help you manifest your goals. Now, we know a lot of people are rebuilding, are beginning to look at what they lost through the hurricanes that occurred in the United States of America and all the floods that happened in France and every other country that's just been devastated. So this new moon does represent that cycle that will start again to clear out all the things that are no longer functioning, be it termites that have eaten away or wood that is rotted away, and begin to plan from the bottom up how to secure and create a better vision. That's the only thing we can do. When things are lost, it is better to take the higher road and take your idealism to create the blueprint to make what was into what is better. Things will get very intense in this last few days before the election. I would like to encourage you to listen to Joe Rogan's conversation with Trump. It's a great study. I've encouraged him to ask Jill Stein on the show. I think he has asked Vice President Harris if she wants to come. I don't know if she's going to. She'd be foolish not to. It would be terrific if he had Cornel West on. I mean, that's what real democracy is when you listen to all the voices, not just the money machine voices. In this new moon chart, we have Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion, which is in Gemini, and an exact sextile to the planet Chiron, which is the wounded healer, and is also a maverick sign. Chiron is like the way you're an original, nobody else is like you. And that tells me that we can survive whoever wins. This baloney out there that, oh, America is going to become, a under a dictatorship if this person wins and blah, 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 blah. Ridiculous. I encourage you to find your specialness within, communicate it, commit to it to the 10th degree. Do not take your eye off the ball. Have even more compassion for yourself and everybody else in these next 2 weeks. And have yourself a fabulous Halloween, also known as Samhain in the pagan world. And it's also in the pagan world considered the new year. We can morph into our best being. And the new moon cycle is the perfect time to commit to it. I want to take this moment to thank my patrons. You know who you are. If you'd like to become a patron, you can do so at patreon.com/ParkerMcP. You can drop a donation and buy me a cup of chai. The link is on my Patreon site. And I want to remind you, you are made of stardust. So go shine.